Maybe you're facing a big mess right now. Maybe it has to do with your health or that of a loved one's. Maybe it has to do with finances. It could have to do with a situation like flooding or famine or a fire, an earthquake, a tornado. I don't know what you're experiencing. It could be conflict with other people. It could be the government oppressing you. I don't know what your situation is, but if you're in a mess, remember this. Except for creation, every miracle in the Bible began with a mess. If there's no mess, there's no miracle. You don't need God to do a miracle unless you got a mess. If you want to see God doing miracles, you're going to have to go through some messes. Let me give you some examples. Think about Sarah. Her mess was she was barren. She couldn't have a baby. She's getting older. God finally answers her prayer, gives her a son, Samuel, becomes a prophet, the prophet of prayer for all of Israel. Her mess turned into a miracle baby. Moses, he's just got the children of Israel out of Egypt, out of slavery. Pharaoh's decided he doesn't want to let them go. He's chasing them down with his chariots. They're going to get killed. They're stuck at the Red Sea. They are in a big mess. God does a miracle. He parts the Red Sea. They cross through. He closes it up on Pharaoh. The chariots are washed away. God did a miracle, but it came after a mess. 5,000 people heard Jesus teaching. They were there all day. Nobody had any food except one little boy with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And they're hungry. That's the mess. The miracle, God multiplied the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and everybody had enough, plus they had 12 baskets left over. The widow and her son were starving. They were starving to death. There was a famine in the land. Elijah went to God, and God gave them unending flour, unending oil, so they had food to eat every day through the famine. God brought the miracle out of their mess. 3 Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. To obey God, they would get thrown into the fiery furnace, the furnace of execution. They obeyed God anyway. The mess was they got thrown into the fiery furnace. But there was a 4th man in that fire, Jesus. Not a man, the Son of Man, Jesus. He protected them. They got elevated. God turned their mess into a miracle. Daniel, we talked about him. He got thrown in the lion's den for not praying to the king, but praying to God. That's a mess. A miracle, God sent an angel, protect him from the lions. The king gave his testimony to the whole nation. Bartimaeus, he was blind. He couldn't see. He's got a mess. But God sent a miracle, and he was healed, and he could see. Man filled with demons. He was living in the cemetery, among the tombs. He was cutting himself. He was shrieking in agony. He was filled with demons. Jesus delivered him from the demons. He became a steady, strong, stable man who gave his testimony to a bunch of people, sparked a revival in his community, actually. He got freedom out of the mess of being demonized. 10 men had leprosy. They were outcast. That's a mess, a huge mess. But Jesus gave them all healing. They were made just like new. Peter, thrown in prison for preaching the gospel. That's a mess. James had just been executed for preaching the gospel. The church prayed. God sent an angel. He rescued Peter. That's a miracle. Came from a mess. Lazarus, big mess. He's dead. His sisters, they're brokenhearted. He's the friend of Jesus. Jesus is weeping. He's dead. That is a mess. The miracle, Jesus raised him from the dead. That miracle would never have happened without the mess of Lazarus dying. Disciples, they're in a boat, in a storm. They wake Jesus up. He says, "Oh, you have little faith," calms the storm. They were in a big mess. They would have died in the storm. Jesus calmed the storm. Jesus did the miracle. I want you to understand something. You're in a mess? Well, makes you a candidate for a miracle. And that miracle gives you a message. Your mess gives you a message so you can tell others how God came through for you in the midst of your mess. I'm Dave Earley. We do this type of Bible teaching every day. You can follow us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I encourage you, share these videos with your friends, especially the ones that have helped you or you think will help them. God bless you.